Space was silent above Earth. No alarms. No battle. No fire. Then suddenly, something massive appeared in orbit. It did not come from a warp gate. It did not send warning signals. It simply arrived. The object was so large that it blocked the stars behind it. A dark shape stretching across the sky like a second moon. Within minutes, every satellite on Earth locked onto the same image. Every telescope turned toward it. Every government screen showed the same thing. A single alien ship. Panic spread fast. Military bases went on high alert. Fighter jets were ordered into the air. Nuclear submarines prepared for launch commands. But no attack came. Instead, every phone, every television, every computer screen on Earth flickered. A signal forced its way through all systems. The message translated itself into every human language at once. A tall armored figure appeared on the screen. Its eyes glowed faint blue. Its voice was calm, cold, and powerful. "This is Supreme Commander Zareth of the Virex Dominion." The name meant nothing to humans. But the confidence in his voice meant everything. "You have advanced beyond your assigned level. You have built weapons beyond your rank. You now stand in violation of galactic order." The world froze. Cities went silent. Highways stopped moving. Even the air felt heavy. "You are given one final warning," Zareth continued. "Deactivate your planetary defenses. Surrender all military command to the Virex Dominion. Accept our rule. You have 7 of your days to comply." A countdown appeared beside him. 7:00:00:00. "If you refuse," he said, his glowing eyes narrowing slightly, "Earth will be cleansed." The transmission ended. No explosion followed. No lasers fired. The alien ship simply remained there. Watching. Within minutes, emergency meetings began across the planet. Leaders argued. Some wanted to surrender immediately. Others refused. Scientists studied the ship's scans. The results were terrifying. The single alien vessel carried enough power to destroy Earth 3 times over. Worse still, deep space scans detected more ships waiting far outside the solar system. A full fleet. Silent. Ready. News channels called it the end of humanity. Social media filled with fear. Some people prayed. Some rioted. Some just stared at the sky. But inside a secure underground facility beneath the Arctic ice, a different kind of meeting was happening. There were no raised voices there. No panic. Only focus. A woman in a dark military uniform stood before a large holographic display of the alien ship. Her name was Admiral Sarah Kane. She studied the data quietly. "They think we are unprepared," one officer said. "They think we are weak," another added. Admiral Kane crossed her arms. "They scanned our surface," she said calmly. "They saw what we allowed them to see." Around her, massive blast doors began to open deep within the base. Hidden hangars lit up for the first time in years. Gigantic black ships, far more advanced than anything the public knew about, powered on silently. On the main screen, the alien countdown continued. 6:23:14:09. "They gave us 7 days, an officer whispered. Admiral Kane's eyes stayed on the image of Supreme Commander Zareth. "No," she said quietly. "They gave themselves 7 days." Across the world, more hidden facilities activated. Deep under mountains. Beneath oceans. Inside deserts. Old systems came online. Classified programs unlocked. Encrypted messages traveled across secret networks. The public believed humanity was afraid. The Virex Dominion believed humanity would surrender. High above Earth, inside the massive alien ship, Commander Zareth watched the planet calmly. "They will bow," one of his generals said. Zareth stared at the blue world below. "Every young species does," he replied. But as he turned away from the viewing screen, a small alert flashed across a hidden Virex scanner. Unidentified energy spikes. Deep below Earth's surface. Zareth paused for just a moment. Then dismissed it. Primitive worlds always made noise before surrender. Below him, Earth looked peaceful. But far beneath the surface, something ancient was waking up. And the countdown had only just begun. The countdown reached day 2. Above Earth, the massive Virex warship remained still, like a dark crown hanging over the planet. The people below could see it even in daylight. At night, it blocked the stars. Fear was everywhere. But inside the alien flagship, confidence ruled. Supreme Commander Zareth stood in a circular war chamber. Holograms of Earth's cities floated around him. Red markers showed military bases. Blue lines showed satellite paths. Every defense system had been mapped. Primitive weapons, one Virex officer said. Nuclear missiles. Chemical engines. Weak shields. They will surrender before day 7, another added. Zareth did not smile, but he agreed. Send a probe fleet, he ordered. A small one. Test their response. Within minutes, 3 sleek Virex destroyers detached from the mothership. They moved toward Earth's moon base, where human defense cannons were placed. On Earth, alarms rang. The public saw it live. News drones streamed the alien ships moving toward the moon. "This is only a warning strike," a Virex broadcast announced. "Observe your future." The 3 destroyers opened fire. Bright beams cut across space. The human moon base exploded in white light. Gasps echoed across Earth. But then something strange happened. The alien destroyers suddenly slowed. Their shields flickered. Inside the Virex command center, warning signals flashed. "Unknown interference," a technician said. "Energy spike detected from lunar shadow." Before Zareth could respond, space itself seemed to twist. From the dark side of the moon, something moved. Not large. Not flashy. Just 3 black shapes. Human ships. They were silent. No visible engines. No glowing weapons. The Virex destroyers tried to lock onto them. Targeting systems failed. Signals jammed. Then, without warning, the first alien destroyer split in half. No explosion. No beam seen. It simply broke apart like it had been cut by an invisible blade. The second ship attempted to retreat. It vanished in a sudden pulse of compressed space. The third tried to send a distress signal. The signal never left. In less than 30 seconds, all 3 Virex destroyers were gone. On Earth, millions stared at their screens in shock. The human ships did not celebrate. They did not speak. They slowly disappeared back into the moon's shadow. In the Virex war chamber, silence filled the air. Zareth stared at the empty space where his destroyers had been. "Replay," he ordered. The footage showed nothing clear. Just distortion. A bending of space. A sudden collapse of matter. "This technology," one officer whispered. "It is not possible for a level 3 species." Zareth's eyes narrowed. "Search Galactic archives," he commanded. Moments later, ancient records appeared on the hologram. Files marked as restricted. Forgotten wars. Lost empires. One name appeared again and again. Terrans. A warrior species that appeared suddenly thousands of years ago. A species that defeated 3 major galactic powers. A species that used spacefold weapons and silent fleets. And then, vanished. Terrans were classified as extinct, an officer said quietly. Zareth watched the footage of the black human ships again. No, he said slowly. They were classified as missing. On Earth, deep underground, Admiral Sarah Kane stood before her command staff. Phase 1 complete, an officer reported. No public announcement, another asked. Admiral Kane shook her head. Not yet. The world still believed humanity was barely surviving. But hidden fleets were moving into position. Power cores warmed up. Long-range fold drives calibrated. Kane looked at the countdown clock. For :11:02:33. They wanted to test us, she said calmly. Now they are confused. On the Virex flagship, Zareth turned toward the image of Earth again. For the first time, he did not see a weak planet. He saw a question. And questions made commanders uneasy. Prepare full fleet readiness, he ordered. Are we attacking early? A general asked. Zareth paused. No, he said carefully. We will wait. Because now, for the first time since arriving, the Virex dominion was no longer certain. And somewhere in the deep black beyond Pluto's orbit, dozens of human warships activated their stealth systems and began moving inward. The galaxy had forgotten the name Terran. But it was about to remember. Day 5. The alien ship still hung above Earth, but its silence was no longer calm. It was careful. Across the planet, people noticed something had changed. The Virex no longer sent mocking broadcasts. No more threats. No more shows of power. They were watching. Inside the Virex flagship, Supreme Commander Zareth studied new reports. Long-range scanners had detected strange movement beyond Pluto. Faint distortions in space. Not natural. Not random. Unknown vessels confirmed, an officer said. Their energy signature matches the ships that destroyed our destroyers. How many? Zareth asked. The officer hesitated. Dozens, and increasing. Zareth felt something unfamiliar. Pressure. On Earth, governments made a public statement. It was short and simple. Humanity will respond tomorrow. No one explained what that meant. Panic returned to the streets. Some thought it meant surrender. Others believed it meant war. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, inside a hidden command station built into the ocean floor, Admiral Sarah Kane stood before a massive holographic display of the solar system. Red icons marked the Virex fleet waiting outside the system. Black icons, barely visible, marked human positions. Fleet status, she asked. Shadow fleet in position, an officer replied. Lunar division ready. Outer system units approaching strike distance. Kane nodded. Open a direct channel to the Virex flagship. Above Earth, Zaretha's screen flickered. A new signal was forcing its way into their system. Not hacked. Not stolen. Simply overpowering their communication grid. The face that appeared was human. Calm. Steady. Admiral Kane looked directly into the camera. This is Admiral Sarah Kane of the United Earth Defense Command. Zareth watched carefully. You gave Earth a final warning, Kane said. Her voice did not shake. Now you will hear ours. The Virex officers stiffened. You will withdraw all forces from our system within 24 hours. A quiet ripple moved through the alien command crew. If you do not, Kane continued, the Virex Dominion will suffer total military collapse within 1 week. Silence followed. No shouting. No anger. Just certainty. The transmission ended. Inside the Virex flagship, several officers began laughing in disbelief. A threat, one said. From a developing species? Zareth did not laugh. Scan the outer system again, he ordered. Moments later, the hologram changed. Black shapes appeared across the edges of the solar system. Not dozens. Hundreds. Hidden behind asteroids. Masked inside debris fields. Drifting cold and dark. Human warships. Each one carrying the same unknown spacefold weapon signature. They were building in secret, a Virex general whispered. They were hiding, another said. Zaratha's voice hardened. Prepare planetary assault. Outside, the massive Virex mothership began charging its primary weapon. Energy gathered at its core. Light bent around it. On Earth, alarms sounded. But Admiral Kane did not look worried. Execute Phase 2, she said. At that exact second, space fractured. Human ships did not fly toward the Virex fleet. They appeared inside it. Space folded inward like fabric pulled tight. Black vessels dropped directly into the center of the alien formation. Before the Virex could react, the first pulse fired. It was not bright. It was not loud. It was precise. One Virex battleship collapsed inward, crushed by its own gravity as space warped around it. Another vanished entirely, erased from existence. Panic erupted on the alien flagship. Shields failing. Formation broken. Multiple capital ships destroyed. Zarath gripped the edge of his command platform. This is impossible, an officer shouted. They are jumping without gates. Human ships moved like shadows. Strike. Fold. Disappear. Strike again. Within minutes, 12 Virex capital ships were gone. The galaxy, watching through long-range probes, saw something it had not seen in centuries. The Virex Dominion retreating. On Earth, citizens stared at the sky as flashes of distant light marked falling alien ships. The massive mothership above the planet began to pull back. For the first time, it was moving away. Inside his flagship, Zarath whispered quietly, almost to himself. Terrans. He now understood the truth. Humanity had not reached advanced technology quickly. They had remembered it. And the 24-hour warning had only just begun. The Virex fleet had never retreated before. For centuries, their symbol alone was enough to force surrender. Entire civilizations had bowed without a fight. But now, inside Earth's solar system, their perfect record was breaking apart. The massive Virex mothership pulled back from low orbit, shields glowing as it climbed higher above the planet. Smaller ships formed a defensive ring around it. Supreme Commander Zarath stood in silence while damage reports flooded his command display. 17 capital ships lost. Outer fleet formation scattered. Human vessels continue full jumping inside our lines. Each report sounded worse than the last. Predict their next strike, Zarath demanded. The answer came quickly. There is no clear pattern. They strike at command ships first. They avoid civilian targets. They disable supply carriers. Zarath understood what that meant. This was not chaos. This was strategy. On Earth, Admiral Sarah Kane watched the battle through secure feeds. Around her, officers moved calmly. No cheering. No celebration. Virex communication traffic, she asked. In disorder, an analyst replied. They were not prepared for internal formation attacks. Kane nodded slightly. Begin outer system push. Far beyond Mars, hidden human fleets powered forward. These ships were larger than the first wave. Heavier. Built for sustained combat. For years, they had remained invisible in deep space, running silent. The world had believed Earth's military budget went into defense satellites and surface fleets. The truth was very different. Humanity had prepared for this day long ago. Back on the Virex flagship, a new alert flashed. Multiple fold signatures detected near our supply fleet. Before Zarath could respond, live footage appeared. Human ships emerging near Virex carriers positioned between Jupiter and Saturn. They did not destroy them immediately. Instead, precise energy pulses disabled engines and weapons. Entire supply lines went dark. "They are isolating us," a Virex general said quietly. Zaratha's jaw tightened. "Launch full assault on Earth," he ordered. "End this now." The mothership's primary weapon began charging again, brighter than before. But as the beam prepared to fire, space distorted directly in front of it. A massive human warship unfolded into existence. Larger than any vessel seen so far. Black hull. No markings. No lights. It did not fire at first. It simply blocked the shot. "This is Admiral Kane," a voice transmitted across open space. "You were warned." The human flagship released a focused gravity pulse. The Virex primary weapon collapsed inward, its energy turning unstable. Explosions rippled across the mothership's outer layers. Not fatal, but damaging. For the first time in his long career, Zarath felt doubt. The Virex Dominion was known for overwhelming force. But humans were not fighting for dominance. They were fighting with control. They chose targets carefully. They avoided civilian casualties. They dismantled command, then supply, then mobility. It was not rage. It was calculated removal. Across the galaxy, other species watched the battle through hidden probes. Ancient archives reopened. Old war records resurfaced. A forgotten title appeared in classified files. The Silent Apex. A species that did not conquer. A species that did not expand quickly. But a species that answered threats with final force. Back near Earth, human ships tightened their formation around the damaged Virex mothership. They did not rush in. They waited. Zarath stared at the tactical display. More human ships were arriving every minute. From the asteroid belt. From deep space. From places his scanners had not even searched. They hid their full strength, one of his officers whispered. "No," Zarath replied slowly. "They hid their patience." Another alert appeared. All Virex outer fleets requesting retreat permission. Zarath closed his eyes for a brief moment. Retreat meant weakness. Weakness meant rebellion across their empire. But destruction here would mean extinction. On Earth, Admiral Kane watched the Virex mothership drifting, surrounded. "Open channel," she said. Zaratha's screen flickered once more. Kane's face appeared again. Calm. Unshaken. "You came to give us a lesson," she said. "Now you understand ours." Behind her, the hologram showed dozens of human warships locking weapons. "We will not chase your civilians," she continued. "We will not invade your worlds." Her voice became colder. "But if you fire again, there will be nothing left of your fleet to return home." Silence filled the alien command deck. For the first time, the choice was no longer in human hands. It was in Zaratha's. And he finally understood why you never threaten Earth. The battlefield was quiet. Human ships surrounded the damaged Virex mothership in a perfect circle. Weapons were charged but not firing. Engines were ready but not moving. Everything waited. Inside the Virex flagship, warning lights flashed across the walls. Smoke drifted from broken control panels. Officers stood frozen at their stations, waiting for a single command. Supreme Commander Zarath looked at the tactical display one last time. His fleet was broken. Supply lines gone. Outer reinforcements cut off. Human vessels continued to arrive from deep space, forming layers of containment around the system. If he gave the order to attack again, his fleet would die here. If he ordered retreat, the Virex Dominion would lose its image of invincibility. He finally understood the trap. Humans had not attacked in anger. They had allowed the Virex to step fully into their reach. A final message request blinked on his screen. Admiral Sarah Kane. Zarath opened the channel. Her image appeared again, calm as before. "It does not have to end in destruction," she said. "You have already destroyed a third of my fleet," Zareth replied. "You entered our system with weapons charged," Cain answered evenly. "You threatened our world." Zareth studied her face carefully. There was no hatred there. Only certainty. "You could wipe us out," he said. "Yes," Cain replied. "But we will not." Silence stretched between them. Behind Cain, the image of Earth slowly rotated in blue and white light. "We do not want your territory," she continued. "We do not want your empire. We want distance." Zaretha's officers listened closely. Cain's voice became firm. "You will withdraw all Virex forces beyond our outer system boundary. You will mark Earth as a protected world in your galactic records. You will not return without invitation." "And if we refuse?" Zareth asked, though he already knew the answer. Cain did not hesitate. "Then your fleet ends here." Outside, human ships adjusted slightly, tightening their formation. The message was clear. Zareth looked at his surviving officers. They were waiting for pride. But pride would not save them. "Transmit withdrawal order," he said quietly. Shock spread across the command deck. "Commander. That is an order." One by one, Virex ships began powering down weapons. Engines shifted to retreat formation. Human vessels did not pursue. They simply watched. The massive mothership slowly turned away from Earth, its damaged hull reflecting distant sunlight. As the Virex fleet moved toward the edge of the system, Cain issued one final broadcast, not just to the Virex, but to every listening signal in the galaxy. "This is Earth." Her voice carried across open frequencies. "We do not seek war." Human ships drifted in silent formation around her flagship. "But if you threaten our world, we will respond." The image feed briefly showed the destroyed Virex ships floating as debris. "We do not forget. We do not panic. And we do not miss." Across distant star systems, hidden observers processed the battle data. Ancient civilizations that once feared the old name now understood. Terran. Human. Same species. Different era. Back inside the retreating Virex flagship, Zareth watched Earth grow smaller on the display. "You were correct," one of his generals admitted softly. "They are not a young species." Zareth nodded. "They are an old one," he said. "One that chose to stay quiet." As the last Virex ship crossed the outer system boundary, human fleets powered down their weapons. They did not cheer. They did not celebrate loudly. On Earth, people looked up at a sky that was finally clear again. Most would never know how close they had come to destruction. Deep beneath the surface, Admiral Cain stood alone in the command chamber. "Stand down all fleets," she ordered. "Yes, Admiral." The black warships began returning to hidden positions. Back to shadows. Back to silence. Because humanity did not need the galaxy to fear them every day. They only needed the galaxy to remember one thing. They had been given a final warning. And they had given a worse one back. The species you should fear is not the one that shouts. It is the one that waits.